that are part of this?
Oh,
Perfect. All right. So I am now going to share this with you guys, and then we'll go ahead and get started. All right. So here we go. You should be able to see, at least I think, the healthy routines through summer chaos. Michelle, come off mute quick and tell me if you can see what I think you can see.
yes, you are good.
Perfect. All right, so here we go. We're going to go ahead and we're going to get started. So welcome to everybody. So glad that you decided to join us today. I'm super excited to talk with you about summer and how sometimes our routines can go a little bit wonky and it can be frustrating. And so how do we navigate the chaos of summer but still remain true to our health and our goals? So if you haven't met me, because I know I haven't met some of you, my name is Kristen Gillis. I am a wife to my husband, Mike. We've been married it'll be 22 years in a couple weeks. We have twins, Nathan and Natalie. They're 15 years old. So navigating the teen years has been interesting. I have spent about 20 years in the health education and fitness industry. I was a secondary health teacher for a number of years. I have been a health coach for about 5 or 6 years, have entered into personal training. And one of the things that I'm often known for is asking whether it was a student or a client of mine, the question of what's next. And the reason I ask that is because I feel like our health and our fitness and our wellness, it's not a destination. You don't arrive, you don't finish. It's just one of those things where we should always be thinking about, well, what is next for me? What can I be working on and continue along with that journey? So, a random fact, I don't know why I figured I'd share this with you, but spicy foods make my ears itch. Guys, it's weird. And I love spicy foods, so sometimes I still eat them and then scratch my ears, but I have no idea why that is. It just is. And something I think that's helpful for you to know too is I'm just obsessed with helping people get healthier and to get where they want to go, not where I think they should go, but just kind of walking alongside people as they are working through things on their own and just encourage them along the way. So I don't know about you, but if you are like me, summer is wonderful and a pain all at the same time. You know, we might be embracing the longer days, the longer, the time in the sun when you can stay up at 9 o'clock and it's still light out. We're loving the barbecues, we're loving time with family, with friends. But a lot of the time then with summer comes chaos. And it ends up feeling like we're running from one barbecue to another. The kids are home from school, and so every day is a weekend for them. My husband's a teacher, so he's home, and both my kids are home, so I feel that your routines get out of whack. And so we want to try to figure out today. I really just want to help you figure out how to stay grounded, how to stay organized, how to still feel like you are living healthy and well without the stress and without feeling like you have to completely overhaul everything that you do in order to feel that way. So today is not at all about perfection. It's just about consistency. It's about finding those simple, small habits that you can do to just help you keep moving in the direction that you want to move. So by the end of today's lesson, I used to be a teacher. By the end of today's session, what I'm really hoping that you have is a personalized summer wellness plan. Like, I'm going to help you create one for yourself. I'm going to give you some tools for movement, for nutrition, for self-care and stress management. What can you do throughout this busy summertime to hit all of those, just call them the pillars of summer wellness? And I hope that you leave with a fresh mindset too of what health can look like during a busy summer season, that you don't have to throw your health and fitness and wellness goals out the window just because summer has arrived. So let's start with a quick poll here for a second. I'd love to know what's one of your biggest summer wellness challenges? Like, where do you find that you struggle the most with? Is it staying consistent with movement? Is it eating healthy on the go? Is it managing your stress? Maybe it's all of them. Maybe it's finding time for self-care. Good. And so go ahead and put in the chat. I'm going to sneak over and peek at mine. Um, good. So we've got some people that are having trouble consistency with the movement. I mean, the heat and humidity is no joke. At least it is here. Eating healthy on the go can definitely be tricky. Um, it's funny because I find that our family's meals are almost always off schedule in the summer. Like it just definitely makes things a little bit trickier. So then let's start by talking about some small routines and why they matter. I think one of the biggest myths when it comes to our health and wellness is that we think that it requires this complete lifestyle overhaul. We have to change all of the things all at once. And in reality, we don't. That often causes us to stress out and burn out before we really even get started. So the truth is, small routines matter. So, what are the small things that we can change? What are the small things that we can add to our daily routine that will help us get to where we want to be? And I call them anchors a lot. Like, what is the one or two things? What are the one or two things that can kind of anchor you in your health and wellness while everything else sort of feels like it's out of our control? You've probably seen these pictures before, but the idea of being consistent, the small consistent steps are going to take us further and they're going to be easier to do than these big giant steps that feel impossible. Or the consistency versus intensity idea, whereas a lot of the time we start off real strong and we have all these goals and all these things we're going to do. And we get 3 days in and we're like, I can't do it. I can't do it. Also, I quit. Right. So the idea is what can you do consistently? What small things can you do consistently that will keep you either where you're at now until summer's over or even continue to move you further ahead? So we're going to go through these four pillars, and it might be helpful for you. It will be helpful for you today to either have something to write with, grab a notebook, a receipt, it doesn't matter, or use the note section on your phone. But I am going to give you time today to write some things down and kind of just try to get, again, a personalized plan for you figured out. So we're going to talk about four pillars of summer health and wellness. And the first one is movement. And the one of the myths for this one is that you need to have these long, sweaty workouts in order to see any results. You need to hit the gym for 2 hours a day, to get stronger, to feel fit. And it's so not true. The truth is about 10 minutes of intentional activity every day is enough to help increase your energy. It's enough to help you feel better and to get some of those results. Again, done consistently over time, you're going to notice a difference. And so, what I want you to think about first is what's the movement that you enjoy? Because movement or exercise should not feel like a punishment. It should feel, I'm not going to say it's not going to feel hard, but it shouldn't feel like a punishment. So it should be something that you enjoy doing. So is that walking? Is it running? Is it kickboxing? Is it yoga? Whatever it is, really start to think about what are the activities that you enjoy that you could do. And then I want you to think about what could your 10-minute mini routine look like? I gave you some examples here, but maybe every day, you do some 5 minutes of stretching, especially if you are somebody who has a job that requires you to sit a good portion of your day. Your muscles are going to feel tense and uncomfortable. So maybe once an hour, you do a quick 2-minute stretching routine to work out your shoulders and your neck. Maybe you're doing a 5-minute body weight activity. So you could do squats and lunges. You could do some push-ups or planks. Again, you don't need the gym. You don't even need weights to put that necessary stress on your muscle and your bones to see a benefit of healthy movement. So I want to give you a minute. I told you I was going to give you this, but think about right now and write down what are some things that you could see yourself doing? What are some ways that you could personally participate in healthy movement throughout your week? Um, They don't have to be the examples I gave you, but they can be. And while you're writing those down, I really would also encourage you to find a time in your schedule. One of the things that I write down in my planner every week is when I'm working out and even what that workout is. It's just like keeping an appointment for me. If I'm going to the doctor, it's in my calendar. If I'm going to lift weights, it's in my calendar. It's definitely more likely to get done. So think about, like I said, what movements do you enjoy? Where might they fit in your schedule? And if you want to go one step further, stick it in your calendar for this week, and make sure that you keep that appointment. The second pillar that I wanted us to chat about is nutrition. And I find that sometimes this one is tough, especially during the summer, because, we're constantly on the run to different barbecues, to graduation parties, to vacations, or these random nights out. Or I said sometimes when it's too hot, I don't feel like cooking. Like everybody just eats cereal. I don't know. So the myth behind this is, this idea that we need to eat perfectly at every meal if we're going to stay on track. And it's simply not true. The truth is if we could figure out a way to have even just one intentional, healthy, balanced meal a day, I call it your anchor meal. If you could have that once a day and make sure that your body is at least getting the proper nutrition at that time, it is going to still help sustain you throughout the day. It's going to help stabilize your mood and your blood sugar. What if the day gets a little bit more flexible from there on? For me, breakfast is it. Like my other meals might look a little funny throughout the day during this season, but like my breakfast is almost the same every morning. I usually switch between like three different options, but it's easiest for me to make sure that my breakfast is on point. So I gave you some examples here. You're welcome to jot those down and use them. It could be a smoothie with fruits and greens and some protein. Maybe it's lunch and you want to have some type of grain bowl with veggies and lean protein. Notice that at least all of these meals include some form of a healthy carb, some vegetables, and some protein. So you just want to try to make that as balanced as you can. If you need help with that, you can reach out to any of the coaches or whoever connected you with today's workshop, and they can definitely help you out with that. So take a minute and think about and write down what meal do you think could be your anchor meal if you had to pick? What time of day are you best set up to create a healthy, balanced meal for yourself? And jot down some examples. What could you eat? What does that look like for you? And like I said, again, if you need some help with that, just let us know. The third pillar we're going to talk about is self-care. And this is one of those things that I feel like so many people feel like self-care is this selfish, self-indulgent thing, that we're not really supposed to do regularly. Or it's one of those things that we're supposed to do when everything else gets done. Like, well, if I finish everything I'm supposed to do, then I'll make time for self-care. But the truth of it is, we actually need it. Like, we need it. It's essential for us to maintain our body, our mind, our soul, so that we can function at our best in every other area of life, right? It's not a luxury. And what you sort of have to figure out is, well, what self-care looks like for you. It might look differently for someone else. Like one thing I've noticed personally is binge watching Netflix does not self-care for me. I find that while it feels good to do nothing, it almost numbs everything. It doesn't actually restore or rejuvenate my energy or my mood. So when you're thinking about self-care activities for you, I want you to answer like the questions, what brings you joy? What makes you feel better? What makes you feel restored when you're done? I often refer, when I'm talking with different clients about things like the nutrition piece, like think of your body as a car. And so the nutrition piece is the fuel. We need to put healthy fuel in the car to make it run. We need to put healthy fuel in our bodies to make it run. But then the self-care is really like the maintenance. It's the oil changes, it's the tire rotations, it's the things that we have to do to maintain that vehicle. there's things that we need to do to maintain us as people so that we're functioning well. So, some examples I gave you, it could be that you're sitting down and you're reading for 10 minutes. It could be that you're setting boundaries around your time, that you're saying yes to things that make you feel better, and that you're saying no to the things that don't. Um, Maybe you're listening to music on a walk, or you're journaling at night. So take a minute, again, like I had you do with the first two pillars, and write down one or two things that you feel would bring you healthy, solid self-care. And just like you did, hopefully, with the exercise, um, think about where can you put this into your calendar. Just like you're going to, put in your calendar your appointments, and I now encourage you to put in your healthy movement, I want to encourage you to put in your self-care too, even if it's 5, 10, 15 minutes, a few times a week. Where can you fit that into your schedule so that you really start to see some benefit from it? And then the fourth pillar is stress management. I know I've talked to a number of people that, we're just busy. And the idea of stress management, sometimes we think the myth is that it means we have to eliminate the stress altogether, or whatever it is that's causing us stress, we need to make that go away. And the reality is that stress is part of life. It's never going to go away. There's good stress, there's bad stress. It's always going to be there. So it's learning, how do we manage it? How do we work our way through it? How do we recognize it quickly enough so that we can stop, we can pause, and then we can figure out what it is that we need to do about it? So there's three tools. I'm gonna talk you through these because I think that you'll find them helpful. The first one is called box breathing. And I don't know, you can put a one in the chat if you've heard of this one before. But the idea of box breathing, good, some of you have, is I used to do this with my high school students. So we're going to practice it. So humor me. You're going to envision a box or square, and we're going to inhale for 4 seconds, and we're going to picture the pencil moving from the bottom point of the square up. So we're going to inhale for 4. We're going to hold our breath for 4. Then we're going to exhale for 4 counts, and then we're going to hold our breath again. So everybody get ready. And we're going to inhale for 4. So inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold your breath for 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale for 4. And then hold your breath for 4. Let's do it one more time. So go ahead and inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold your breath. Exhale and hold your breath. So when you feel in a moment where you're anxious, you're stressed, you're nervous, whatever it is, and you recognize it, this might be helpful for you just to stop, to pause, to force yourself to take those slow breaths, and you'll feel your anxiety come down. You'll feel your heart rate come down a lot. The second one is called a 3-2-1 check-in. I've intentionally been doing this one the last few weeks, and I kind of like it. So think to yourself, 3, 2, 1. The first thing is 3 deep breaths. So in a moment of stress, you're going to take those 3 deep breaths. You could even do 3 rounds of box breathing if you want to. The 2 makes you say 2 things that you are grateful for. Bonus points if you say them out loud, but you can think to yourself, what are 2 things you're grateful for? And what's interesting with the brain, this is a little fun fact for you, is that you can't think about something that you're grateful for and something that you're nervous or anxious about at the exact same time. So by forcing yourself to talk about what you're grateful for, it can help you not forget, but it can help get rid of those negative, anxious thoughts for a minute. So 3 deep breaths, 2 things that you're grateful for. And the last one I think is so important, one kind thought for yourself. Think about how easy it is for us to pay other people compliments all the time, but then how often do you actually give yourself a compliment? Probably not very often. And so again, this just works with your mental health, your emotional health, just trying to center you and really focus on some of the positive things. And then finally, this type of mantra reset. So, like, is there something that you tend to say over and over again? Are you somebody who it is very good at thinking positively, or maybe that's something that you struggle with? And so, coming up with some type of mantra that you will repeat over and over and over again. I know for some of one I've used a lot is like done is better than perfect because sometimes it is. Like, if I ask my kids to load the dishwasher, done is better than perfect. They didn't do it the way I wanted them to, but you know what? They did it and it's done and I don't have to. So, trying to come up with some kind of mantra that will help you just sort of be okay in the moment with the way things are. So, I want us to pull it all together. And so, if you haven't done this already, I wanted to give you a couple minutes to really take a minute and to jot down again what is the movement micro routine for you. What does that look like? Figuring out what movements you enjoy. What if you don't like a certain exercise, don't do it. Find something that you do. Shoot for 5 minutes this week. The next week, shoot for 10. It doesn't have to be a 30-minute workout. I want you to jot down what might your anchor meal be, meaning like what time of day is it? And I put on here even like a snack. Like, do you have a healthy go-to when you're out running around and taking people where they need to go? Do you have something that you are that you have easy to grab? Is it a protein bar? Is it a snack pack of almonds or pistachios? Something that just makes it real simple for your nutrition. What's your favorite self-care activity? Maybe you don't know because maybe you're not good at taking care of yourself yet. So think about that today. What is something that might be beneficial for you? And then what can you do to reset your stress level when you feel that those feelings of stress and anxiety coming? What is going to work for you? And it might take some trial and error, and that's okay. You might just need to take some time to figure out what does that look like for you. And then finally, what I'd like for you to do, all of a sudden my computer stopped working, hang on, is to set your summer intention. Summer's not over. I don't even know if it's halfway over. I haven't looked at the calendar in a while. And so maybe for some of you, you're thinking, I've already blown it. Like I've already just completely, blown all of the goals that I had. Okay, that's fine. Move on. Figure out what are you going to do next? And what I love, if you're here live with us and you're bold enough, put in the chat, what is your summer intention? Like, what are the things that you're looking forward um, to focusing on? Terry, I love the what you just said about the 15-minute grounding outside. I've recently started reading about some of that stuff about just being in the grass and in the dirt and your bare feet and like just the health benefits that have with that. So, take some time today to think about what is your intention for this summer? What does it look like? For me, I really just wanted to focus on being energized and not exhausted. And so that looks like I'm eating well. I'm like I told you, I'm starting with a healthy breakfast. I'm very focused on my sleep. Um, I get enough sleep. It's not one of those habits that gets messed up with a lot. So I love it. You want to reboot your routine in the morning. Yeah, as well as midday and the wind down at night. I heard somewhere recently they talked about how in order to have a good morning, you have to have a good evening. And so much of it is connected there. And how we end our day often determines how we start our day. Sometimes we think if I had a bad day, it's because of how I started, when in reality, it had to do with the night before. Um, Great. Angie's focusing on movement and food. And I love Amy, intention is self-love. What I love about what you guys are putting in there is it's one or two things. You can't overhaul everything at once or you will quit. So coming up with one or two things to focus on, I think is fantastic. That's great. All right. So in closing, I just wanted to just keep encouraging you guys, it doesn't have to be perfect. Um, you're not going to fix everything overnight. Sorry, I'm totally trying to get rid of something and it's not working. So we're just going to pretend that that's not there. Um, you just need a few small, steady anchors. So I did create, and when you'll get an email that follows up from this workshop today. So in there you will have this downloadable summer wellness tracker. It's real simple. It's just going to help you if you're like me and you want to be able to check things off and mark the boxes. Every single week it's going to ask you what is your intention for this week. And then all of those things that we talked about today, did you hit your movement, your nutrition, your self-care, and your stress management, just so that you can move forward with that. So that's available to you. We have a couple things that are up and coming with Up Level Wellness. And so starting July 21st, if you are somebody that's like, yes, I would love to start adding some more movement or some basic strength training, but I don't know how or what that looks like, we're going to run a 28-day strength and stability series. And that is going to be, it's perfect for people that are busy. It's perfect for people that maybe you've done some strength training before, but not a whole lot. And you really just want to work on your functional strength. You want to make going up and down stairs easier, carrying in the groceries easier. So that's going to be an option. You can sign up for that at our website. I'm sure we'll give you more information in the email after this. And then if you are somebody who feels like, you know what, I could really use some more help or guidance with the stress part of things. One of our coaches, Ray, is going to be running a Breathe Well experience for a few weeks in the month of August, and she's just going to teach us more about what does that mean and how can we use our breath and our mind to help with the level of stress and how to really help us feel healthier, more energetic, and all that stuff. So if you have any questions about any of those, just touch base with the person that invited you to the workshop, and we can give you all the information you need. There's lots of different ways to stay connected. So if we're not friends yet on Facebook and you want to be, send me a request. You can follow us at Uplevel Wellness. Our website there is at the bottom too, that kind of gives you a great overview of everything that we have going on as a team. So I'm going to stop sharing here for a second. There, now I can see faces again, which is nice. So I hope that was helpful. Does anybody have any questions or anything that they were hoping that we would talk about that didn't? You want to either put that in the chat or you can even come off mute, I don't care, and ask your questions. So, like I said, I hope that was helpful. I hope there was just some things in there that you could take away from that and help you in your journey to better health and wellness. And like I said already, if you have any questions or you need any help with anything else and you're just not sure about what the next steps are, you can reach out to myself or Wendy or anybody at Uplevel Wellness. So, with that, I kept it to almost a half an hour. Yes. All right. Everybody have a great rest of your day. We'll see you later.